Morning, peeps. I'm back again. It's been a very hot day today. A bit like my FPL team, except it's not really. It's kind of lukewarm. But very, very surprised to actually get a green arrow this week because I had about 10 points after Saturday, thanks to Isaac and the Newcastle boys. But I've turned it round, and of course Salah. Everybody had him though, didn't they? Just about. But Solanke was a big surprise to me today. And Cunha did well after a lot of people got rid of him thinking he wasn't going to play. But Solanke did really well, and I think he's a much maligned asset, isn't he, Solanke? Because I think people unfairly compare him with Isaac. But he's quite a bit cheaper than Isaac. Isaac's just had two really easy fixtures, easier than Solanke's. But Solanke's chugging along pretty well now, isn't he? So I'm quite happy with him. I think I'm going to be keeping Solanke. I can see his output's only going to improve, to be honest. He probably has underperformed a little, hasn't he? But can play a bit deep at times. But he's scored a couple in the cup game against United midweek, and he's got another 9 points today. So a lot of the cheap strikers are pretty inconsistent, aren't they? Like Evan Nielsen's drying up, and Pedro's doing nothing. Real, and so someone like Solanke, I think, is a better level than them, and can actually keep it going, unlike some of them. So people are going to try and put me off today, peeps. I can tell. The phone's going. People ring me. I tried to do one earlier. It was really, really funny. Really funny video I did, but I got a call in the middle of it. And OBS, for some reason, you cannot pause your recording and start it again. You have to start doing editing and all that kind of annoying stuff. So I've decided to do it again. But I was using my assistant earlier, so we're going to do that again. I've got a new assistant on the phone. I can see Mark could end up replacing Az with someone like this, because it doesn't answer back. And it makes a lot better suggestions, So we're going to ask it today what we can do about Saka, because we need to replace Saka, so I'll ask it. Bukayo Saka in my Fantasy Premier League team is injured. I need to replace him with a Tottenham player, either Maddison or Son. Which one would you suggest as being the best Tottenham asset to bring in out of those two?
Alright, so you're torn between Maddison and Son to replace your injured midfielder. Both are great options, but it really depends on your playstyle and what you need for your team. Son's more of a guaranteed goal scorer, while Maddison's got a bit more creativity and can unlock defences. So do you want someone who's going to bang in the goals, or do you need a player to create more chances for your other attackers?
That's actually pretty good, isn't it? I'm surprised. She could replace Az, to be honest. I might have to sign her up for my own team, to bring her onto these shows. That was pretty good. Actually, I don't want any of them, I think. Although I think they're a decent option, aren't they, for Saka? But we'll have a look, actually. Let's have a look at some fixtures. Now, what have we got, peeps? What have we got? Let's have a look at this week. I'll tell you what everyone's going to do. Right, so we're away at Forest. I don't really like that for them, so I don't, Then they're home to Wolves. Then they're home to Newcastle. Then they're away at Arsenal. So they're not great fixtures for Tottenham. And Maddison came off after 57 minutes, didn't he? I don't know if he was injured or whether they're just resting him for Boxing Day because they knew they'd already lost. So, let's try another one, shall we? For my Fantasy Premier League team, who's the better option out of De Bruyne and Foden this season?
Okay, so you want to know who's better between De Bruyne and Foden this season? It's a tough one, because they both bring different things to the table. De Bruyne is a classic playmaker, he's going to create tons of chances for your team. Foden, on the other hand, is a bit more unpredictable. He can score, assist, and generally cause all sorts of problems for the other team. So, do you value consistency and creativity, or do you like a bit more of a risk with someone who can turn a game on its head?
Again, not bad, peeps, not bad. But I think the only risk that De Bruyne and Foden are going to bring is to your FPL team because City are shit, and they really are, aren't they? I mean, I know Foden scored, but it was like, I think it was injury time, wasn't it, when the game was already done and dusted, really, wasn't it? So they have got good fixtures, though, haven't they, City? They've got Everton at home, although Everton are pretty good lately, aren't they? Away at Leicester. I mean, that's really good. Leicester have gone. So you can see Foden actually doing some damage in that one. De Bruyne at home. I mean, Foden's more likely to play more games, I think, than Foden's more likely to play more games than De Bruyne is. And they're away at Brentford. Now they've got Ipswich. So that's 5 games there. I mean, do you remember when I got Fernandes in after he'd had like 9 blanks in a row? So I brought him in and he did really well, didn't he? So, I mean, it's possible that Foden could be one of those. And the fact that people are telling you he's too risky might mean that he's good to bring in because people aren't going to do it. So I'm quite tempted by Foden, to be honest with you. Quite tempted. Now again, there's Liverpool. We've got Jota and Diaz. But the rotation's the problem, isn't it? So I think we'll have another go because she's doing well, isn't she? Doing well. Right, I'm thinking about bringing in a Liverpool midfielder to my Fantasy Premier League team, and I'm torn between Diaz and Jota, and I'm a bit worried about rotation. What do you think about rotation within that Liverpool midfield?
Rotation for Liverpool's midfield can be a bit tricky to predict. You've got some serious talent there, so it's never a guarantee who's going to start. Both Diaz and Jota are quality options, but there's always a chance they could be benched, especially if they're not 100%. Maybe tell me a bit about your team, like who else you've got in midfield. That might help me figure out which one's the better fit for you.
You do not want to know about my team, trust me. Especially Iwobi and Semenyo.
Alright, no worries. Let's focus. Having trouble sleeping, huh? That's no fun. Maybe try some simple relaxation techniques like deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation. If that doesn't work, a warm bath or some chamomile tea might help you wind down.
What about marijuana? Would that help me sleep?
While some people use marijuana to help them sleep, it's not a guaranteed solution and can have side effects like grogginess in the morning. Plus, it's not legal everywhere, and there might...
I mean, did I even mention sleep? Did I mention sleep, peeps? No, I mentioned Iwobi, and she's waffling on about me sleeping. I don't know. Right, so she let the side down. She's talking a bit of sense there, isn't she? Right, we'll try one more, and that's it. Right, my Fantasy Premier League team, I'm really worried that I might bring in Fernandes or Ahmad, because I know they're not very good at Man United. Do you think I should avoid those 2 players?
Alright, let's break this down. Fernandes and Rashford are both talented players, but you're right to be a bit worried. Man United's form's been up and down this season. If you're really concerned about consistency, you might want to look at other options. How about someone like Odegaard from Arsenal? He's been really impressive this season. Or maybe Martinelli, also from Arsenal. Both are solid picks, and Arsenal's looking pretty strong this year.
Well, peeps, Odegaard and Martinelli. I bet a few people will look at Martinelli, to be honest. That's another thing, isn't it? Arsenal. Who could we bring in for Saka? Odegaard hasn't been doing much, has he, really? So they've got Ipswich, Brentford, Brighton and Tottenham. I reckon she's better than FPL review, don't you? What do you reckon? Certainly better than ours. Right, so let's have a look here. Who else can we get? Want someone out of left field. I suppose some people might still go with Newcastle, mightn't they? Gordon, Fernandes, Ahmad, Man United. I'm a bit worried about Man United. Really am. I think we'll go to Reddit now and have a quick look there. We'll go to Reddit. Where are we, peeps? Reddit. So, let's see what they're talking about today. Now, Salah, 177 points after 17 game weeks. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? That's like over 10 a week. Crazy. He's already 50 points clear of his record-breaking 303 points at this same stage with a game in hand. You know, I mean, normally, if you know a player might get 200 points a season, well, that's a good benchmark, isn't it? Somebody like Fernandes. If you think they're going to get 200 points, then you bring them in, because it's like a good benchmark, isn't it? 200. And here's Salah. He's already got 177. We're not even halfway through the season yet. I mean, you would not put it past him, would you, to get at least 23 points against Leicester next week, which would put him on 200 points at the halfway stage of the season. Absolute madness. It's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, to think at the start of the season, I was saying he was getting on a bit past it, and maybe I could leave him out and play Jota instead, because that really worked out well, didn't it? So what else have we got here, peeps? Magnus Carlsen. What's he on about? Always just cap Salah, never get fancy. Always just cap Salah, never get... Well, I'll tell you what. He needs to start playing some serious chess again. Because if this is all he's sitting here writing, nothing else to do, he could have been winning the World Chess Champs here a couple of weeks ago. Instead, he didn't even bother entering and let two players worse than himself fight it out for the championships. He couldn't be bothered. Instead, he'd rather sit at home writing drivel like this on about his FPL team. I didn't even know he had one this season, actually, but that's Magnus's tweet anyway, and he's not far wrong, is he? So what have we got here? People moaning about their bench, as you do. Rodgers. And now, people talking about Salah again. What have we got here? Here we are. Look, everybody did not captain Salah this week. So 3.8 million people did captain him, but 2 million people captain Haaland. And they're probably mainly dead teams, I suspect. But no, I know some people actually, in my work mini league, some people did captain Haaland this week. Palmer, 1.5 million captain him. 500,000 captain Salah, that would hurt, wouldn't it? And about 500,000 captained Isaac. That must have been a bit annoying if you captained Isaac. I mean, Isaac was a legitimate choice this week, wasn't he? And you'd have finished Saturday, I think you got 17 points. You'd have got 34 points, been really happy. And then Salah comes along and gets 42. So what else have we got? They're still going on about Salah. Salah price changes. I haven't even seen these yet. Let me have a quick look. See you went up. Jesus. Should I have moved for him, peeps? Should I have chucked Cunha out and got Jesus in? Made a quick... Well, I don't know if he'll go up again. He probably will actually, won't he? Gabriel went up. Salah went up. Aina went up. Bowen went up. Saka went, oh Jesus, does that cost me money? Have I been a bit slow here? Might do, I didn't check. I was a bit slack today. Well, I was kind of busy. Let me see. Transfers. Transfers list view. So Saka. Blooming did. Look, it cost me. I would have got 10.4 for him if I'd sold him today. And instead I haven't done. And now I'm only getting 10.3 for him when I sell him. Took my eye off the ball, peeps. My eye off the ball. Bit like Jackson with his open goal miss. I don't even know if he had one. First name come into my head. Sorry about that, Jackson. Right, so Where am I? Lost the thread now, peeps. Oh, Reddit, that's right. Haaland down again, 14.8. Strand Larsen. And he's the one who isn't banned. You know, like Cunha's banned, but he isn't dropping in price, is he? Yeah, so that's cost me not taking out Salah. But I'll be honest with you, honestly, I don't have a clue who to be bringing in. You know, I've got to ask Gemini here who I can bring in, because he's got a lot more idea than you lot. So I'm not even going to bother asking you people. But I am tempted by Foden. Because whoever I bring in, right, it's going to be short term, isn't it? Because Saka's going to come back. And we're going to want Saka. So I don't think there's any point in going cheaper and, say, buying a more expensive defender and not being able to afford to get Saka in one go. So whoever I want, it's got to be punty. And there's another reason why Foden might be a good answer, because what's going to happen is on the 27th, well, it's 27th for you, it's 26th where you are. The first game is Man City at home to Everton. Now, like I said, whoever you bring in is likely to be a short-term punt. So you could bring in a Liverpool midfielder, but the problem is we are not going to know, or some people probably will, but most people are not going to know their lineup. So we're not going to know. That's a nice time, isn't it? We've got the game on 9 a.m. to watch. It's nice to know. I'm just going to enjoy that one. So, but the trouble is, we don't know who to bring in. Can we trust that Diaz is going to start, or Jota is going to start? We just don't know, do we? So it's risky. Whereas the Man City game, I'd say there's going to be a very good chance that we're going to know if Foden is playing or not playing, or De Bruyne or whatever. So that's quite important on Boxing Day. If you can bring in somebody that you are guaranteed is starting, that's kind of a quite an important thing on Boxing Day, because you can't, even with the likes of Chelsea in that, we cannot guarantee who is going to play with a quick turnaround. I mean, we saw how bad Tottenham were and how bad Man United were, because they'd had that cup game a few days before, and it really affected both of them, I think. And that's what's going to happen with Boxing Day. So we're going to see a lot of rotation. So if you can wait, I hate to say it, you know, because it's going to be leaks, isn't it? Leaks City. And but if you can find out that Foden's actually playing, it is quite a big advantage, isn't it, this week? But I am tempted to bring him in. But am I, you know, I'd be really annoyed if I brought him in and I go to bed and I'm not privy to the leaks, and it turns out he isn't playing, so no one else brings him in because they all knew he wasn't playing, and I'd brought him in. That would really be aggravating, peeps. Really aggravating. So what am I doing all over the place here? Right, get back to Reddit and we'll continue our look down at what's been happening there. So Everton, that's what's been happening. And blooming Pickford, again, just like last season, where he did nothing for the first 6 weeks of the season, and now they're keeping clean sheets for fun. Clean sheets for fun. I'm guessing these points here on the right are Pickford points, aren't they? But he's been doing very well, and he doesn't cost too much. Now, peeps, Amorim. Fewer Premier League points per game this season than Den Haag, and they're in the bottom half at Christmas for the first time since '89. I'm wondering about this Amorim, right? Now, if you play Championship Manager or one of those type of games, first thing you do is look at your squad you've inherited, find out their strengths, and then adjust your tactics to make best use of the structure that you've got, the players that you have in your team. Amorim hasn't done that. He's done the complete opposite. He's come in, he's said, I play this and this in Turkey. I'm coming in, I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. And you're just going to have to adjust to it. This is basically what he's done. He's come in, he's got all the round pegs and sticking them in his square holes or whatever. And it's really not working very well, is it? I mean, I get he knows what he wants to do, but he hasn't really got the players to do it, has he? And it's costing him points. And whether he's just going to carry on like this until he's kicked out players, and I think Rashford might be for sale, and until he's brought in people that do fit his system. But in the meantime, he's plummeting down the table, wouldn't he? So I don't know how much patience United are going to have, but they thought they were the bee's knees, didn't they, when they beat City? Like, scored late. They were losing against City, and they scored 2 late goals and won it. But to be honest, everybody's beating City at the moment, so it doesn't mean that much. And against Bournemouth, they're awful. Against Tottenham for most of the game, they're awful as well, weren't they? I mean, I know Tottenham did a Tottenham and let them back in it. But, there were 3 goals down in that one, I think. Lost this one 3-0. So the questions are going to be asked soon, I mean, you can't just... he hasn't got any experience in the Premier League. He's come from a completely different league where what works there might not work here. But, I'm not that impressed, peeps, He's come in talking a big game, but we're not seeing it, are we? They're getting worse, basically. Getting worse. So, now, what have we got? More people going on about Salah, again. Right, what have we got? Salah versus Haaland. You can see from the graph that Haaland's flatlined, doesn't he? If he was in here, they'd be bringing out the clappers, whatever they're called, weren't they? They'd give him an electric shock, because he's on the way out. Whereas Salah, it's almost gone parabolic, hasn't it, this chart here? It's kind of curving upwards. You see that, Pete? Parabolic. Now, you don't know what that is, do you? But, you're dealing with quality here, peeps. So that graph is looking very good. And I'll tell you what, if he does score 23 against Leicester, it will really be parabolic, won't it? So, right, where are we to next? Let's have a quick look. Salah this, Salah that. Saka this, Saka that. Right, Saka's injured 3 weeks. Now, 3 weeks... There's probably like 4 game weeks or something, isn't it? Although I think there's a break for the FA Cup soon. That's an option. You could keep Saka. It's not impossible to keep him, because I think you are going to want him back. I mean, I know he hasn't done much in the last few weeks. People talking about Jesus being essential. He's an option, isn't he? But I'm thinking I'm going to keep Cunha, to be honest with you, because until he's banned, I'm just going to hang on to him. Because, like I said, they've got United next. And, Cunha's in great form again, isn't he? Apparently only twice before has Mo Salah produced more points than he did this week. I mean, this is what everyone's talking about him, isn't he? I mean, once in game week in 2018 he got 29 points, and he got 24 in 22 against United. He likes United, doesn't he? Look, he's got them down there as well. But he clearly had a very good week. I don't think many of us saw it coming, did we, this week? I mean, we knew Tottenham were a bit loose at the back, but I don't think we expected quite that many points from him. Anything else interesting here? Keep or sell? I think I will keep for the United game at least, because it's not the best week, I think, to bring in a replacement. Because if I went for anyone, I was thinking of Jackson, but Jackson still has one more week where he could be suspended, and also Boxing Day could be a week where Chelsea rotate heavily. Nkunku could get a game again, or even their other striker who got a hat-trick midweek. Now, if you haven't got the team, I wanted to see Focal's team for the weakest team in the top 10, the TWAC team, isn't it? The weakest team in the top 10k. So that's not there, peeps. So we'll have a quick look at the Content Creator League, because there was some interesting Some interesting transfers out, shall we say, this week. So Mark Southern's top this week, 106. He's really ridden the Newcastle wave, hasn't he? So he smashed it on Saturday with his 3 Newcastle. I mean, this is why I was so pessimistic after Saturday. I had like 10 points. And people were getting all these Newcastle points. That prick Hall got a blooming bonus at the last minute again too, didn't he? Got an upgraded bonus. He was one of the few people, maybe the only person in this group, who actually started Rodgers this week. None of the rest started him. He did. He started Rodgers over Evan Nielsen, Kirkaz Davis. So, he deserves his Rodgers points. He didn't get Rodgers off the bench. He actually started him against Man City and reaped the rewards. So, well done to him. That's what we like to see, peeps. Now, Wag. Now, Wag was the only person here who hadn't used a single chip since the season started, but she's now used a wild card and has got 90 points. Overall rank 159k. And a wild card, she brought in Isaac, Jackson and Solanke. So I'd say, if you don't own Haaland, even if you do, I think this is the best forward line you can now have, I think. Isaac, Jackson and Solanke. I don't think you can beat it. It's top notch. You're not relying on these 6 million ones that are, to be honest, a little bit streaky, aren't they? You're not relying on them. These 3 you can pretty much play against anybody. We saw that with Solanke today against Liverpool. He's still got 9 points. And she's still got Salah, Palmer and Saka. So she's managed to fit them in. Got a cheaper defence. She's had to sacrifice Gabriel. And has got Saliba as her most expensive defender. But that forward line is pretty decent. Picked Henderson as a keeper, got 0, but I mean that would change. Got Winks on the bench, so he's had to make sacrifices. Also getting Anderson instead of Robinson. Anderson didn't play, but she got Milenkovic off the bench. Good pronunciation there, Pete, isn't it? Milenkovic. Straight off. So she's done well, 90 points. Az was next with 88. He's doing well since he got rid of Haaland. He might be a bit pissed off. We'll look at some transfers because he took out Semenyo and got Ahmad in. Which, is that sideways? Maybe not. Maybe Ahmad's a better choice than Semenyo. And of course, like everyone else, he got Robinson. But if he hadn't taken Semenyo out, would he have played Rodgers? He might have played Rodgers and benched Semenyo, but because he bought Ahmad, of course, he played Ahmad. And was rudely, got a rude awakening with his new player, because Ahmad didn't do terribly well. Semenyo did score, but would he have played Semenyo or Rodgers if he hadn't got Ahmad in? We'll never know, peeps, we'll never know. Right, now Harry's interesting. He took a -8, which is something he rarely does, I think. So he's obviously got no free transfers left. And he's taken a -8. So he's obviously desperate to get Isaac in by the look of this. And he's, but look who he's taken out. He took Rodgers out, he scored 14 points. He took Semenyo out, he scored 8 points. And he took Cunha out, he scored 9 points. Admittedly, he did get Isaac, who got 17. So kind of, you can see why he wanted Isaac. But he's also brought Enzo in. Now, I'm not convinced that Enzo is a better pick than Rodgers or Semenyo, for that matter. I'm not sure he's a better pick than either of those. It's very sideways, especially when they're taking a -8. Did he need to? Was Enzo cheaper than Rodgers and Semenyo? I think he is a bit cheaper, isn't he? Maybe he could only make it work by including that transfer in it, but I think it's sideways at best. Sideways at best. I mean, Ahmad could be an upgrade on Rodgers and Semenyo, but I'm not sure that Enzo is. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? So he only really got 79. You know, he got his Isaac points. He got Mikalenko points. How did he manage that? Did he play Mikalenko? Did he actually choose to play him? I think he must have done, because I don't think any of the other ones didn't start that he would have played. So that's pretty good, isn't it? I think I would have played Munoz over Mikalenko. Oh, no. Munez was banned, wasn't he? Munez was banned. So I guess rather than make a defensive transfer, he's just gone with what he probably wouldn't have expected any points from Mikalenko, would he? But he got them, so he's done well there. But to take an 8-point hit, oh, he did. He brought in Munoz, who he knew was suspended, and played Mikalenko. Yeah. Paid off in a way, didn't it? Because Mikalenko got 7 points. So he's moving in mysterious ways there, peeps. Moving in mysterious ways. I didn't watch his stream this week because I kind of had a bad score last week, so I wasn't watching other people's stuff. So we've seen my team. I got 85. Late Riser got 85, but it's really 81. He took Rodgers out as well for Ahmad and got Robinson in. 79 for Fabio, 74 for Joe. Joe bought Baby Goat. He had Baby Goat last week, Huijsen. You know, my old mate Baby Goat. I showed you that video, didn't I, of him getting a goal in the Serie A. And he hasn't taken long to get a goal at Bournemouth, has he? And he's in for a few months. He's still a very good pick, I think, Baby Goat. And here's another one with lots of players on the bench, but you can't complain about your bench points. It's a sign you've got a good team. And Andy and Bakar at the bottom. That's what we like to see, peeps. That's what we like to see, because they've caught me up now. I think Andy might still be ahead of me. But they both ended up on 73. They both move as one. So a very quick look at the overall, because we're going on for time now, aren't we? We might have another chat with the AI lady in a minute, because she seemed to talk a lot of sense, didn't she? Where am I, peeps? Where am I? Let's have a look. Game week. So, not game week, total. So, Harry's still at the top. He's 30 points ahead of Wag. Now, Wag's doing well. She's catching up. Not far behind, ahead of all the other content creators apart from Harry. And she's doing well. You know, used a wild card, so the team's looking good going forward. Fabio's still third. Mark's climbing the table. Andy's still very slightly ahead of me. I don't know how he's managed to stay ahead. It's really pissed me off, peeps, this Saka business. You know, because Saka's got Ipswich at home this week. People like Andy, who's got away with triple Arsenal defence for the last 5 or 6 weeks, he's got away without Saka. Saka scored a big haul in Europe. Any week he could have got a massive haul to really kind of punish people for not having him. Because it's, in my opinion, it was bad going triple Arsenal defence. He even admitted it himself. And but he's got away with it. And this week, at home to Ipswich, Saka would have given them a real dilemma for people that didn't have him, because he's like captain material, he'd be. And he goes and gets himself injured. Just when he was going to punish people, I think. So frustrating, FPL, sometimes. So frustrating, honestly is. And then we got Joe, I'm back ahead of him. Then Bakar, I'm ahead of him again, and Late Riser. But honestly, peeps, Saka, that Saka injury. So sometimes there's no justice in FPL, is there? No justice. So anyway, that's about it, I think. We'll just go back here. And what can we ask? What can we ask my new assistant? Manchester City have been on a terrible run of form lately. Now, do you think it's temporary?
You're absolutely right. Manchester City.
Carry on.
Karaoke, eh? Sounds like fun. Do you have a favourite karaoke song?
Maybe
or are you looking for some ideas?
Maybe it's my accent, peeps. You know, maybe I don't speak very clearly. You know, let's ask her something else. For Fantasy Premier League, what do you think of Nick Triggerlips? Is he a good Fantasy Premier League manager?
Alright, so Nick Triggerlips. He's definitely a name you hear thrown around a lot in the Fantasy Premier League community. The general consensus is that he's a very good manager, with some really clever strategies. You could check out some of his past performances, and see if his style of management aligns with what you're looking for.
I heard he's a bit controversial. Is that true?
Yeah, Nick Triggerlips can be a bit controversial. Some people love his aggressive management style and his willingness to take risks. Others find it a bit over the top. It really depends on your own personal preference.
Right, I think we've had enough of her for one day. Right, so so overall, peeps, our fantasy advice was a lot better than some of the advice I've seen online in the last few weeks. So she's done quite well. But if you get an assistant like this, you have to speak clearly, you know. But I can see that Mark and a few other people might want to look at their assistants, you know, and think, do I really need this person next to me? I could replace them, you know. So a few people are going to have to sharpen up, you know. As is good value, isn't he? You know, he's good value on the... I wouldn't like to see him replaced, really. But I think this assistant could give a lot better advice than Az has been getting. At least she wouldn't be recommending Barco, would she? Wouldn't. What do you think of Barco for Brighton? Is he a good FPL asset?
Barkley's been a bit inconsistent this season, so he's definitely more of a risky pick. If you're looking for a...
I'll talk to you later, peeps. I've had enough. I'm out of here. And I think Az is safe. You know what I mean? So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to come back and do another video in a day or two, because I'm really trying to work out what I'm going to do with Saka, because I don't know. But like I said, I think it's got to be someone short term, because I will want Saka back. I'm pretty sure of that. I probably will sell him though. I mean, that's 2 transfers, isn't it? Getting rid and buying back. But if he's gone for like 3 or 4 weeks, then it's quite a long time. And you know what Arteta's like. He's going to wind us up, isn't he? So I'm thinking it's better to get rid of him and take a punt on somebody. I mean, Luis Diaz, I don't know about Jota. I mean, he didn't play today, did he? So... yeah, I don't know, peeps. Anyway, I'll be back. So like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later anyway. So cheers for now then, peeps.